Hello, I'm Dr. Jenifer Lightdale. I'm one of the associate editors on gastrointestinal endoscopy, and it's a great pleasure to be here with Dr. Simon Lowe, who was the principal investigator of a large study. It was a multicenter prospective randomized controlled trial comparison of a novel signal transmission capsule endoscope to existing capsule endoscopes. And Dr. Lowe actually worked with a huge team, so I'm just going to read all their names. They were Drs. Choi, Mergener, Semrad, Fisher, Cave, Dodig, Burke, Layton, Kastenberg, Simpson, Sewell, Bhattacharya, Charles, Gerson, Weber, Eisen, Rydell, Vargo, Joachim Fleming. That's a huge team, and I know many of them. I don't know everybody, but must have been pretty exciting trial to be the PI. Yes. Can you give us some background? What was the aim and purpose?
Well, as she said, there's a novel technology capsule camera pill that is new on the market, so to speak, and they obviously, as required, they need to be proving that they are capable of making diagnosis and also capable of at least match with the existing technology in terms of the ability to look at a small intestine for disease processes.
And what are the advantages of this particular capsule versus the older technologies?
In many ways, they're very similar in terms of the ability to see things and the image quality, etc. The difference is that at least at that time, the capsule requires a electrical propagation type. They are using the body tissue as a conduction medium, so it doesn't use as much of a battery life. So that not that we really want to read 20 hours of capsules, but that the conventional 7 to 8 hours capsule reading may sometimes not be able to see the whole small intestine.
So it really gives more time for the capsule to make its way, first off, into the small intestine, right? And then also to get all the way to the end if there's something holding it up.
That's correct. So it's potentially longer reading ability.
And can you give us a sense of what you found?
So it pretty much, the industry standard is this pill cam by given imaging, and it really compared quite well to what the given imaging capsule can detect. So the whole aim is to look for sources of small bowel bleeding, and they are pretty comparable.
They were pretty comparable.
Yes.
Okay. And did you find that the new technology actually did offer some advantages?
At least quantitatively speaking, at that time now, the technology have changed. But at that time, there was roughly twice as many images that we could see during the duration, both by virtue of 3 frames per second as opposed to 2 frames per second in viewing, and also by virtue of going for 11 plus hours versus 7 and a half hours or so.
Okay. You know, it's interesting because, as you say, this study is already old. There's newer technologies already coming out. So actually here, the design of the study, where it was the randomized part, was that you randomized people to swallow one capsule first and then the other capsule, or the newer capsule first and then the older capsule. So what are we starting to learn about how to design these capsule studies to figure out whether you really have made an advance in your technology or not?
Well, sometimes it's helpful if you are a different comparison study, and there's one is published before, so you learn from their experience. And what the previous study looking at different capsules were that if they did a tandem study with 2 capsules back to back, and one of the capsule, the second one may see a lot of the first capsule, so thereby obscuring the examination. So if you go by about 90 minutes, which maximally allows you to spread apart the time, so hopefully less of seeing the other capsule. But at the same time, though, the challenge is that if you have 11 hours of reading time, and you can tell the patient to start at 7 o'clock in the morning and can go very late. So you have to be realistic. So 90 minutes is about right.
Okay, so you really have to time when you swallow one capsule and then the other. The other thing I saw in this study was you really had a lot of different reader pairs.
Yes.
And you were trying to understand agreement between reader pairs.
Yes.
And obviously you also had to have a way of handling disagreement, which it seemed like you had both inter-reader and intra-reader disagreement. So can you talk about that a little bit?
So we tried to limit the variation. You can imagine like more than 100,000 pictures. You invariably are going to have some different type of interpretations. So we try to limit it by first only looking at GI bleeding, so the focus is smaller, and also that we have certain criteria, so bleeding lesions, ulcers, and so you give them criteria to make diagnosis. So that limits that. But even with that, there are disagreements, and so when the two readers are not agreeing, you have a third reader, and then you have a adjudication committee who are not made up of the members from the readers, so that you at least have the objective.
And the same adjudication committee for all of your
That's
reader
correct.
pairs. Okay. And as I said, you really had assembled this A list of co-investigators.
Well, we're very honored to have worked with all these people.
I can only imagine, though, handling disagreement between such experts, yes?
Disagreements only behind closed doors. In public, we're always agreeing.
Always agree, okay. Do you have any words of wisdom on running such a large multi-center randomized control trial?
It takes a lot of resources for one, and doing studies in the U.S. is not cheap and not easy. And also that it takes a long time to assemble patients, even though we have hundreds of patients that we do on a daily basis. And then by the time that we're doing a study, it seems like the subjects always disappear because of the different criteria that you're strict about them and stuff. So, and the timetable is always too short. And you have to always give them more time.
Expect it's going to take a very long time.
Yes,
that would be the words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Sounds like renovations on my house. So I'll
I was going to say that, yes.
All right. Well, terrific. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.